This is Tracy Randall with this segment of Tracy's Arsenal, your battle plan for better health. And by now, I hope you recognize the gentleman that's sitting here with me that I'm interviewing, Mr. Bob Wright, the founder of the American Anti-Cancer Institute and the author of the incredible book that I'm showing here today. I'm excited to have you here today, Bob. We've got a lot of great things to talk about. How are you doing today? What's the weather like over there in Seattle?
Well, I'm doing fabulous. Let me look. Okay, it stopped raining, but
Bob's having a little.
Now it stopped, so we're good to go.
We're good to go. All right. So I'm excited to be here, and it has been storming all morning in Atlanta as well. So, but it seems clear now. So clear weather ahead, and we're going to talk about some things that are happening in the atmosphere today that people may not see or probably don't see, but is going to impact us much more than the weather. Bob, I want to invite the listening audience that are coming aboard to listen and be a part of this live interview today. I want to make sure they know that that we are interviewing you now on a regular basis every Monday, and we'll be back here next Monday. I believe that's October 30th at the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And our first interview was just 3 weeks ago, believe it or not, Bob. And we talked about the #1 recommendation of water that you endorse and promote because you know the power of it. And so far, over 8,000 people have viewed that. I know it's reached double that amount of people, with over 337 people sharing that one video. So I'm so appreciative of the people that are taking the time to listen to the interviews and share. This is important information. So also, before we get started with today's interview, write down 2 things for me. If you're listening either live or by recording, the email that you want to write down to contact us and get information is productsaaci@gmail.com, and our website where you can get onto Bob's get his monthly newsletter is getmadaboutcancer.com, and those 2 are coming up on the screen, so make sure you do that. So Bob, we talked about the 5 steps that you talk about, your protocol, so to speak, about living healthy. And I always like to start any presentation or any interview where you just briefly go over those 5 steps that are so important to our health. And I know Bob's having there you go, Bob. Be patient with us on this interview, Bob.
Okay, I'm back here. I don't know. It seems to stop, so we'll just muddle through it, won't we?
Yes, we will.
Okay, I think you asked me about the 5 basic protocols, and of course you have to eat the right food. If you're not going to do that, we're gonna struggle from the start, and that's more than what people think, you know. And so that's something we can delve into in depth at a future date, but it's critically important. Then you need the right water, you need the right supplements, you need the right detox, which is very difficult for most people, but it shouldn't be. And we'll have a session on that as well. And then exercise when you can do it. These are the 5, the simple yet hard for some people things that are necessary and mandatory for good health, for prevention, and for healing of the human immune system.
Absolutely. And I love your book, your quote in your book, and I carry this everywhere I go. I talk from it, I speak from it. It's such an important wealth of information for our health. And you talk about the only defense against any disease, including cancer, any chronic disease, is what?
Well, is the human immune system. I mean, why on earth did God give it to us, you know, to keep us well, but also to heal us when we're not?
We will just be patient, folks. We'll get Bob back, and I appreciate your patience.
Okay, I was saying, are you back now?
Yes, we're back.
Okay, that it's much more complex than people understand and believe, and it starts even before birth. that immune system starts to be formed. And so there are things that mothers need to do. There's things that we need to do, throughout our life. We need to take our kids, and I say this in kind of a comical way, but we need to throw them out in the dirt and let them play in the dirt.
Have them eat a little dirt.
People need to understand that, but there's a whole slew of things that have to happen to get that immune system to where it needs to be so it can really help us.
Yes. When we go ahead.
No, we don't pay enough attention to it. We think it's an automatic type of thing within our body that works no matter what. And that's not the case.
It's not. And, Jim Rohn, who's one of my favorite business coaches, he says what's simple to do is simple not to do, or what's easy to do is easy not to do. And it is so true. We know what it takes to be healthy, and yet why don't we do it? I know next week, I'm really, really excited about next week's interview, because we're going to be talking about the #1 nutritional source that you recommend. And I'm excited about Relive. I've been a product of that product since 2007. So I have some great testimonies myself, and have become somewhat of an expert myself in the Relive product line. But it's boosting that immune system. That's the key. Now, last week, we did talk a little bit about detoxification last week. And you talked about some of the protocols. We talked about reducing the number of chemicals that our bodies come into contact with, and lots of great information in that last interview. And after that interview, we had a lot of people ask us about this electromagnetic radiation, or EMR, what that's about. You had actually held up your cell phone and showed us something that you use. But tell us, before you go into detail about some things we can do to combat it, what is EMR?
Well, EMR.
Remember, we've got elementary minds going on here. Try not to talk over our heads too much.
Well, it's in its simplest form. It's just an electromagnetic radiation, or Chernobyl. But it is basically considered to be, unlike X-rays, a non-ionizing type of radiation. Real simple and straightforward, but it's everywhere. And I, if I wasn't someone who was very upbeat most of the time, I would say we're doomed, folks. Because EMR and electromagnetic fields and frequencies we're just swimming in them today. We're drowning in them, actually, is what's happening from our children on up to elderly people like me, elderly people. And so we need to take this seriously, because I'm talking next to a computer. I've got Wi-Fi relatively close to me right now. I don't think people should have microwave ovens, but people do. We have telephones that we put, right up to our ears, and we use Bluetooth, and we've got Wi-Fi in our cars, and it's just one thing after another. We are inundated with electromagnetic radiation on a minute-by-minute, 24-hour-a-day basis, and it's actually killing us, folks. You want brain cancer, drink Diet Pop, or get a heavy dose every day of EMR, which people are doing today. We can link it to many different things. Some won't like what we link it to, besides brain cancer. I mean, these are studies that have come out. This isn't something that I'm saying because I'm a naturalist. We know today that there are these links, and we need to pay attention to these. People won't want to hear autism. They won't want to hear other types of maladies, whether it's Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, but they're all interrelated because they have to do with the neurons in the brain and the breakdown of the human DNA. That's how it works. And it works every day against us. So we need to do the things that will keep us away from that or ameliorate that.
Such important information, Bob. So powerful. You mentioned quite a few things that emit this radiation, and it is small doses. And we lost you a little bit. You froze up a little bit. You talked about we're not getting this massive dose of radiation that's coming down from, some plant or something that's killing us. It's the small, simple things every day that now, unfortunately, we take for granted, and we don't take it seriously. I talk all the time that it is time for us to do something different. With the statistics, what they are: 1 in 2 men being diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime, 1 in 3 women, the #1 killer of our children. We really have to make some changes. And you're right, we don't like it, we don't want to hear about it, but at the end of the day, knowledge is power. We die for lack of knowledge, right?
That's really true, and these are things that we can find out about relatively simply if we only want to. There's a book out now by my good friend Dr. Elizabeth Plord, who sits on our advisory board, and really a smart gal, and she speaks from experience because she was inflicted with a severe case of EMR that resulted from smart meters, these new smart meters that basically relay how much electricity you've used from your house to the electric company. This is her book, and there I think everyone can see it. And but she developed the rash all over her body. She went to doctor after doctor, and she is a doctor herself, and no one could figure it out till they figured out it was those smart meters.
Wow.
Proven. And so we need to first understand what these things are, and then there are things we can do about it. You had mentioned the biodot that's on my phone that everyone can see right here. And I have one I carry around in my pocket as well. This was part of a wristband. We talked a little bit about that last week. There are space pyramids that can do your whole house or half of your house to ameliorate that radiation. But we can also ground ourselves. If you've read my book, I talk about grounding, and grounding ourselves to that negative charge of the earth. We can do that with the sheets in our beds. We can do that with pads. When I'm sitting at a computer, I can put my feet on that pad, grounding me. And so we can do these simple types of things that will help us immeasurably. But one of the best ways is to flood and fill our body with antioxidants, because that helps to neutralize the radiation that our body is sucking up, on a daily basis. Wow. Antioxidants, we get it from the right foods, especially vegetables and fruits, organic. But as we talked about many times now, the #1 way to get these antioxidants flooded into the body is with ionized water. Particularly, I would recommend Kangen water. Course.
Well, Bob, that comes as a surprise to me that you're going to mention Kangen water yet again. Tell you, it's like a broken record, and I love it because when you have that one thing that's going to make such a huge difference in so many ways, it's so powerful, so important. And you're right. And it's simple. It's so simple. That was our first interview. We talked about Kangen water, and I actually posted earlier the only water I can get you to even recommend, because it is so powerful. But that one thing can do so many things for our family, and our whole family can use it. It's a water filter system. I'm not going to get you started on Kangen because we've already got the interview. And of course, we've already mentioned that if you have any questions about any of the products or items that Bob talks about and endorses, the book that he just held up, and anything, if you'll email us, we will get right back to you and give you those sources and resources. So Bob, you talked about cell phones, and I know that not only having the little disc is important, but I know carrying them on our body makes a difference. Do you think, or let me ask you really, because I am assuming, does it make a difference? Should we carry it outside of does it make a difference if it's touching our body or if we put it somewhere else?
Yeah, there's actually been studies done on that, which most people would not be aware of, but I think the optimum range was at least 7 inches away from your body. Of course, we're not going to do that unless we're using speaker phones, but you see women that carry them in their bras, men in their back or front pockets, and they're always with us. They're always I can't understand it. They're in our bedrooms, you know, they're right next to our heads as we're sleeping. We just can't seem to put them down or get away from them, and they are damaging us then again on a 24-hour, you know, a day basis.
Yeah.
And so we need to take that into consideration, especially our young children who as young as 2 years old are getting them now. Their skulls are not formed. Their brains are twice as absorbent as an adult's brain. So they're really going to suck in this radiation. And also for even in the fetus has a tendency to, through radiation, to break down that myelin sheath that protects the neurons. And so this starts before birth and then haunts us all of our lives. And it's more prevalent today than ever. So we need to think about these things.
Yeah, you know, I suppose it would be safer for a woman to have it at least in her purse, not in her, you know, back or front pocket, God forbid, or in her bra. And then a man, you know, I know it's not normal for men to walk around carrying some sort of briefcase or backpack or something, but getting it away from our body does matter. And of course, having that disc is hugely important. And those things are inexpensive. I believe $25, $30 per unit. Huge. Now, I have lots of questions. Real quick, you know those white cords that don't actually, you know, that aren't Bluetooth, that actually go from your phone to your ear. Are those better than the Bluetooth?
Absolutely, much better than the Bluetooth. So utilize those. I know that one doctor I know actually uses one of the old-fashioned phones, you know, that we used to hang up on. I know the young people now don't know what on earth I'm talking about, but it just a receiver and speaker that we used to hold up to our ear that had the long tangly cord that attached to the base unit. He actually uses one of those with his cell phone, so he plugs it into his cell phone so that he can keep it away from his head.
Yeah.
And so there are things that we can definitely do, but yes, the wires are better than a Bluetooth just attached to your head, obviously.
And then I see people, even when they're not talking on the phone, they've got the Bluetooth in their ear. Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk about television. How instrumental is television? Tell us a little bit about having a television in your bedroom, all of those things.
Well, television sits more on the lower end of the frequencies, whereas you go all the way down through Wi-Fi that goes up to Qi. It's just increased recently too, and we're talking about the 4G now moving to the 5G. We're going to have even more severe problems when that happens. But television will, especially if you're really close to it, the closer you are to it, the more dangerous it could be, but it is more on the lower end. Would I have one in my bedroom? Absolutely not. And I really don't think anyone should, but my saying that probably is not getting.
Even technology doesn't like to hear this. Bob is frozen for a moment here. He'll be back, I'm sure.
I was gone?
Yeah, for a second. See, even technology doesn't want us to give the truth, Bob, you know?
I know, but you know, we need to reduce that load, whether it's televisions, phones, Wi-Fi, everything in our bedroom, computers, everything's in the bedroom now. Move it out, move it to an office, move it somewhere else, get it away from you as often as possible.
You'll sleep better too. I mean, the frequencies that are going on all around us, it's keeping our brains buzzing at night and you know, causing restless sleep, and sleep is so huge to the healing process. I know we've all been guilty of it. Maybe not you, Bob, but the rest of the world has been guilty of it. And it's bringing to the awareness, you know, just a reminder. Let's make some changes. I always talk every week. Let's do one simple change a month, just one change a month. And I think this is a very dramatic change that we need to make. I know my oldest son, Robbie, was dealing with an autoimmune disease. And when I took him to this natural path, she said, this was before cell phones were the big deal they are now, but she said, move all the electronics out of his room, and even, you know, not even against an adjacent wall even, because they can go through that wall, penetrate that wall. They need to be a certain distance away from where we're sleeping. When our body's at rest is when we're healing. And I know when we did that, everything changed for Robbie in so many ways, mainly with the way he slept at night. He just got a better night's sleep, which is a big deal.
Yes.
So you mentioned microwaves. I'd love for you to tell us the truth about the microwave.
You men and women out there who use them all the time, cover your ears now, okay? Because they're really a problem. And, it goes beyond just the microwaving of the food, which I tell people, if you're going to microwave your food, then while it's cooking, move your kitchen garbage can over underneath it. And then when the bell dings, open the door and then just push your food out into the garbage, because it's really no good for you anymore. The microwaves will kill the enzymes and the living things within your food that are actually good for you and work within your body. But there is evidence and studies now that also say that it changes the structure, which makes perfect sense, of the food, because all of this EMF and EMR will actually change our structure as well, and the bonds to our DNA. And so it makes sense it will in food as well, and makes it, many say now, carcinogenic. And so you're not only killing what's in the food, you could be changing it to a cancerous type of substance that now you're going to eat and you're going to put it in your body.
Unreal. And those things that we've created to make things easier is actually the very things that are killing us in the long run. And it is tragic, but I know, and you know, that there are so many things we can do about it. Now, the little discs that you get for the phone, are those available for other electronics as well?
Yeah, you can get those, and you basically just attach them. There's a little sticky thing you peel off on the back. You can put them on your phones. You can put them anywhere. You can actually buy them already within a pendant you can put around your neck, a wristband that you can put around your wrist. So they come in many different forms, and I included the space pyramid, which is really gorgeous, and it will sit on a desk or anywhere else within your house. You can attach them to your computer, to your router, to whatever you want to. So and they sell complete packages. You don't have to buy one. You can buy a complete package that will take care of your whole house and you and your family and everyone else.
And guess what? We have the holidays coming up, the perfect gift-giving season.
Yes.
This would be an awesome quick. What do you give the man who has everything? One of those little EMR things, whatever you call them. And we can share the information of where, and one of the things I love about you, Bob, is you do your research. You don't just willy-nilly say this is good or this is bad or whatever. And you've done the research, and you've got a source that you have found, that you've actually vetted, that we can send people to. So this is so important that you email us, products, aaci@gmail.com, and you definitely want to go to Bob's the website that we're using for these interviews. It's getmadaboutcancer.com. Let me tell you what can happen when you go to Get Mad About Cancer. First of all, Bob's book, a resource. Bob, I want you to sell your book right now. Tell the listening audience, you haven't done this yet because you're a pretty humble man. You don't like to gloat. You don't like to boast. But it's time for you to boast about this book, because this book has changed the lives of thousands and thousands of families around the world. And I want you to share right now, look these people into the eye that will be sharing this video, and tell them why that book is so important.
Well, first of all, it's written more like a novel, so people will actually read it. I've read many books on cancer, and some of them are 5 inches thick. And when you're done with it, you wonder what you've just read and what do I do now? This is a hands-on application type of book that you can use. It will tell you probably, especially if you have cancer, probably 90% or more of what you need to know. Then we can hash out the details, which we do, because we talk to cancer patients here virtually every day. And so it's easy reading, and many people, many thousands now, have called it their cancer Bible. And it's all yellowed out. They start by yellowing out the important parts, and by the time they're done, their whole book is yellow. And so that tells me that there's some meat in there. There's something that people can attach themselves to and get some hope that they really have some solutions that will make a difference for them.
Yeah, I love that, Bob. And you know what makes me angry is this whole awareness campaign. There's awareness campaigns going on all the time. Lots, people are just, you know that. And yet they don't offer any solutions, no real solutions. And that's what this book does. I love your book. I know many, many people that it has changed their lives, and not just their lives through the process of the battle of cancer, but for generations to come. And that's what this is about. You mentioned earlier that if you didn't know some of these things, you would feel a little bit doomed. I think people do feel that way, don't you?
Well, I really do. And don't mistakenly think that this is just a cancer book, because I tell many people, well, I've got, I've got something else, something different. I've got Hep C, I've got Lyme disease, I've got, many other types of things. And what would you tell me? And I just hold up the book, because this is a lifestyle book, not only for prevention, but for health and healing, because it is not specifically about cancer. It's about the human immune system and how we heal that, how we resurrect that, and how we restore the epigenetic systems within our body. And that goes across the board to cancer, to heart disease, diabetes, metabolic disease, autoimmune disease, neurodegenerative disease, across the board. So this is a book about health and healing and prevention involving the human immune system and the epigenetic functions of the body.
I love it. And, so on that getmadaboutcancer.com website, they can purchase your book, not for $50, not for $75, not for what it's worth, but for $25 plus shipping. They can have this book and use it. And I have 2 or 3, one in my kitchen, one in my, bedroom, everywhere, because I'm always looking something up in that book. And another great gift, the gift of health, to give someone, not after they've been diagnosed, but before. Let's use this as a preventative tool. Let's stop, waiting for a diagnosis to make changes. Let's do the changes now. Let's make a decision that cancer or any disease won't touch you or the ones you love. We can do it even in this nasty, horrible world that we live in. Another thing that's available on that Get Mad About Cancer website is our health summit that we did here in Atlanta in April of this year. Tell them why. Now, here's one thing. I'm going to give my spin on this. A lot of people tell me they don't have time to read. They do not have time to read anything, and they aren't going to read it, and that's just how it is. We live in a crazy world. Well, they can listen while they're getting dressed in the morning. They can listen while they're, doing whatever, while they're getting their dinner ready at night. They can listen to this health summit, but tell them why it is that they need this health summit too.
Well, it's very important that you understand more than one thing. And the book, I know that some people want to read about the water, and so they'll just maybe copy chapter 6. We discourage that, folks, because it limits the person to all the rest of the book, which they really need. It needs to be, as McDonald's would say, a full meal deal. And that's why it's important. And that's what we did in Atlanta when we were there. We covered all the bases, from the right supplements to talking about cancer and sickness and disease and prevention and everything else. And so you're going to get everything and things that you never thought of in this package. And when you do a 2-day deal like that, you can cover a lot of things. And it's not just Bob either. There are other people who participated, including yourself, Tracy, and you're getting different perspective, you're getting different ideas, and you're seeing different types of supplements, and you're seeing things that are steeped in science, I guess you could say. We don't want to give you anything that's feel good, or that, hey, try this, it might work for you. We want to show what does work, what doesn't work, and we want to tell you why it works. And so that's why this package is important.
It is, and what we've done is we've offered a special for the Health Summit. It was we were selling it for $50, but we've offered it at half price, just $25 for the entire Health Summit. So for the package of just $50, they get everything they need that will help them with their health journey. So I appreciate you sharing, why you think it's important, and I know that it will impact the lives of the families that do it. And the last thing that's available on getmadaboutcancer.com is connection with Bob. Bob puts out a monthly newsletter, The Right Stuff, and we want to send that to you free, no obligation. He sends it, I believe, you're the only person I've seen that's consistently sending it to me on the first of every month, rain or shine, never fails, and we get the newest information. And so that's available also on the getmadaboutcancer.com website. So we've made it real simple to navigate. Those 3 items are right there at your fingertips. Please share this video. Please comment. Give us your testimony. If the book has impacted you, let Bob know. Everyone likes to know that they've made an impact in people's lives. And so I know, Bob, you do too. You go around the country and speak, and I know people come up to you and tell you that the book or something that you've done or said has changed their life.
Yes, they do. And there's really nothing like that. And I had that happen at one convention I was at. A woman who I'd never met before came running up to me out on this convention floor and hugged me and kissed me and said, "You saved my life." And of course, I didn't know who she was. There's nothing that anyone can do. There's no amount of money you can give me that I would exchange for that, because you've changed someone's life. And of course, it's God working through me, make no mistake. But at the same time, we're in this to help people. We're not in this to, you might think that we're just all about selling products or doing this or something different. No, this is about helping people, truly helping people, and giving them the ideas and giving them the things they need to protect themselves and their families and to heal when they need it most.
I love that. And, many people, this is very important. I don't know that I said this in the beginning of the interview, but it matters. The AACI, the American Anti-Cancer Institute, is a nonprofit dedicated to the education of the natural treatment and prevention of disease, all disease. And I think now, Bob, is a really good time for us to do that disclaimer. We've said a lot today, and so I'll start. You can add yours in. But we don't claim to cure or heal anything. What we know is that when you put the right nutrition in your body, take the bad stuff out, put the good stuff in, your body's miraculous. It knows what to do with it, and your bodies were designed to heal, but we just haven't been giving it the right nutrition. So no claims here, medical claims at all, no claims of cures or healing or anything like that. With the AACI, the International Wellness Institute and Research Center, Generational Health, or anyone affiliated that we've talked about. What would you like to add to that, Bob?
Well, I would just like to say that people, and we've covered this before, are looking for the pill. And you won't get from us any one thing. We will not tell you that Kangen water, Reliver, or turmeric, or vitamin D3, or anything heals cancer. It's a combination of things that, again, work with the human immune system and the epigenetic systems of the body. So if someone comes up to you and say they have the pill, well, gee, I hope they do, but they don't. And so be careful and look at the things that really work, the combination of things that we need to do to heal our bodies and to keep us well. They're out there.
They are out there, Bob. And as always, we appreciate your time. It's so valuable. I know you do speak with people that are working through their health journey all of the time. We appreciate everything that you do to spread this awareness, to spread not just the awareness, but the solutions and what we need to do to be healthy. So I am so excited about next week's interview. And for those of you who are listening live, it's up to you. Share, post, comment, go to the getmadaboutcancer.com website, stay connected, but share this information with other people. Bob, we love you. We love you. Stay safe over there in Seattle.
Will do. You guys too. Thank you so much for what you're doing here. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.